Welcome to Jamie TV, where we do not Pissypants about. Thank you very much for tuning in. In that introduction piece of music there, you heard 3 instances of Waverley XL, a brand new iPad only app from Mr. Rob Jackson. Now, I first became familiar with Rob's apps through the somewhat sickeningly talented Mr. Doug Woods of the Sound Test Room, and I've been particularly besotted with Touchscaper. In fact, let's have a little clip of me doing a live stream demonstrating Touchscaper. Another very popular app by Rob Jackson is, of course, Mood Unit's Waverley, which is an app just loaded with rich textured, beautiful sounds, which I've found incredibly useful for atmospheric backdrops and general moodiness. And the nice thing about Waverley is, of course, that it doesn't take up much CPU. XL, on the other hand, is a much bigger, more involved app, so it will take up much more memory space, and the sounds themselves will take up a lot more processing power. Of course, the trade-off is that they sound phenomenal. So let's have a look at some of those sounds that I was using in the intro music. Here's the first sound from my project. I'm just going to switch off Stratosphere Cloud Reverb so that what you're hearing is just XL. You're going to see that XL's interface is very simplistic, and by the way, XL will not run in any kind of standalone mode. You do have to host it inside of AUM or some kind of digital audio workstation. In the center window, you'll see the name of the preset that we're listening to. Now, I can toggle through presets by using previous and next, or I can use the center knob. For each preset, there are 4 different versions of that preset stored under A, B, C and D up here. And I can use the various controls scattered about the app to make changes to the sound of this sample-based app, but I'm going to move on to another sound before I start getting into that. Let's just let this sound play and we'll fiddle around with some knobs. So if I just drop this attack back, lose that initial impact from the sound, take some release back too, and then we'll move over to the filter, take the attack off that. I want to bring this depth up on the LFO. Okay, now let's take the filter amount up. There we go. Okay, now I'll show you how, because for now I'm not going to touch the pitch controls. I'll show you how I made the bass sound that I'm using for that track. So we want the attack way down there. The release was something like this, I think. And I think I just utched up the volume a little. I brought the attack of the filter right down. I'm not sure about the amount of the filter. I think that sounds about right there. These 2 LFOs were all the way down here. Okay, so there I've got my sort of punchy sound, which is a much more appropriate bass sound. And then, because Waverley XL doesn't have its own effects, what I did was I brought these 2 effects in from DesignByPaul. So here is his diode distortion app, the DD21, which has kind of ramped up the volume a little so you can't really hear me. Okay, and let's bring in the flanger sound I made with this new chorus app. Right, I'm going to bring up the volume of that again so you can hear that. My third sound is just my own slight variation on this preset, which I saved up here in AUM. I just thought it sounded wonderful for an arpeggio, and all I did was I used Caelum Audio's Tape Pro, and I made a little preset which my son named Bigmanting. I don't know what that means, but you know, it sounded cool, so I used it. And I made a little preset in Eventide's ShimmerVerb just to kind of set the whole thing off. And just to show you very quickly how I made all of this work, over here I have an instance of Atom sending chords to this instance of Excel. Then here this Atom is sending a bass line to instance number 2. And then the arpeggio that you're hearing, the third instance of Excel, is receiving the arpeggio from Rosetta ARP. But that is getting its chords from the first instance of Atom. And then here I'm just using the Rosetta XOX thing to send some drum information over to the AR909. Now I think you've probably heard enough there to deduce that this app sounds incredible. It represents great value for money, and it's very straightforward to use, which for a stupid old hippie like me is great news. You've probably also noticed that it makes great synthwave sounds, which is no bad thing. I mean, synthwave is very popular at the moment, and I'm in no way saying that it couldn't be used for any other kind of music. Of course it could. It's just that as soon as I open this app, I want to make some synthwave. And as coincidence would have it, Mobile Music Pro recently announced that their next sample pack would be a synthwave pack, and they've been kind enough to send it to me ahead of time. So what I've done is I opened up Audio Evolution and I've dragged in some of the MIDI that comes with that pack, and then I've opened up 4 instances of Excel, which will give me a chance to play you out with a few more of the sounds from Excel. The only other instrument involved here is Digistix, which is using the Synthwave Kit number 1 from the aforementioned pack. The only effects on anything in this track are Digistix's own reverb. All the instances of Excel are completely raw. So if you think I've missed anything about this app, if you'd like to ask me any questions about it, by all means comment below the video with your questions. I always reply. If you would like to contact me directly, you can find my email address down below the video. If you'd like to help the channel, all the information is down there. There's the link to my Patreon account. You can get the link to my Bandcamp account where you can hear my music, maybe buy some merch, which would help me out a great deal. And also you might like to check out the link to my website where you can read all about my career as a failed rock star. So until next time, make lots of music, be beautiful people, be kind to each other, be nice, behave yourself, and don't pissy pants about. See you later.